Hello, and welcome to Movie of the Year, the only podcast that has the science and screaming to determine what is the single greatest movie of any given year. This is a new season. 2023 is over.
Woo!
2023 is over months ago, but we're done talking about it now. And instead, we're going to go back even further into the past than 2023. This season, we will be dissecting the films of 1984. This show is typically, if this is your first time listening, a game show style show where I will bring on two panelists that will hack apart every movie that we talk about, not in like a cinema sins kind of way, not in like a way to make fun of it. Very academic, scholastic, collegiate, elementary, middle, high.
Dear Watson.
Conversations that really put movies that should never be put into perspective. But before we can do any of that, we have to figure out what the movies are. Tonight, 64 movies from 1984, released from January 1st to December 31st, as according to the internet, will enter the battle. Letterboxd help us rank them, except for 3 of them, which we will get to shortly. But before we get to that, I have to introduce. I absolutely, if you're a new listener, one of the things that we hate to be is remiss. And if
we hate to be remiss on Movie of the Year.
And if I at no point introduced typically I would just have people who were fighting each other, but tonight I have brought friends, and they're going to be friends with each other. That's what on the affidavit that they signed, and so we're going to see if that actually happens. Making the most I just farted face is Mike. Mike, thank you. Welcome to the show.
We are friends legally speaking, but let me tell you, we are frenemies in the boudoir.
Oh, okay.
I love that energy, dude.
Are you frenemies with benemies?
Yeah,
frenemies
man.
with benemies.
That sounds hot as shit.
Our friendship has a great health insurance plan.
Benemies.
I have read the slash fiction for this show, and it is steamy.
Greg is here, and Greg, how much of that have you written?
Well, okay, peer behind the curtain, all of it, but like I said, it's steamy.
I like just a gentle, teeny tiny lift behind the curtain, all of it, 100%.
First-time reader, long-time writer. It is steamy.
Yeah, and you should probably read those more than once, Greg, because you need it. Or get an editor, maybe?
Oh, you're saying I got to proofread?
Yes.
Yeah, well, but then every time I'm proofreading my own writing, at first I'm like getting hot under the collar because it's so sexy.
Sure.
But then I'm just like, ooh, this writing is really bad, and it's making me feel really uncomfortably warm.
There was a scene I kept thinking we were cooking because you kept talking about Ryan's hot throbbing crock, and I was like, crock pot? What are we talking about?
Or my shoes, my cool-ass shoes filled with pins.
Right.
Right.
They're not called pins, Ryan. They're called flim-flams.
Is that true?
Bojangles? What are they called?
Dingle-dongles.
Dingle dongles.
They're things that you lose, that they fly off your shoe every time you go to jump kick.
My spaghetti and my helicopter that says he's looking for something are gone, and I don't know what happened to them. Yeah. True stories.
Oh, that's a true story?
I didn't make that up.
Absolutely.
You can't
true
make it
story.
God, in this day and age, you can't make something like that up. Gentlemen, before we get to the bracket that is essentially going to determine the next 4 months of our lives.
Yes, sir.
Everything that we think about will be figured out tonight. I want to go over the year 1984. George Orwell once said, I'm going to write a book about it.
Mm-hmm.
Were we all born?
I was, Ryan. I was a little chap, a little sliver of a man. I was just a little baby boy, but I was officially alive in 1984.
My big brother, George Orwell, was born, but I was not yet born.
I do feel like, though, that even though I was just like a little Greg in 1984, the movies of this year persisted in such a way that like it really is like my whole childhood.
No,
so much of it.
The next 5 to 6 years of our lives were just this year.
The year in review, yeah.
Is this the only year that VHS was released on? Because it really feels like it looking at the list. It's bananas.
Mike, you were just a sty in your mother's eye at this point, but did you have a
my
similar...
dad came right in her face, and so I was just a sty in her eye before I was sucked back into his nuts.
Which
a few years later.
Sucked back into his nuts.
Oh, wow.
It does sound like a premise to like a 1984 horror film.
Or a buddy comedy.
Or porn. But did you have the same experience of me and Greg that even though we weren't theater goers this year, these are the movies that controlled our lives?
This is the year that if you say like dudes around our age,
where's
movies,
my car?
You're like, oh, I'm gonna mockingly say, are these 8 movies there? Yes, they all did come out in 1 year, and yes, dudes of our age group are mostly. I recently went to a coworker's house, and he has a theater room. All the posters that are framed in his theater room are from this year.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
We weren't there for Caddyshack. I don't know if any of us
thank God.
Caddyshack.
Fuck Caddyshack.
Right.
Okay, Greg loves Caddyshack.
I prefer Caddyshack too.
The drop pat. Guys, find yourself someone who prefers Caddyshack too.
Caddyshack is one of those movies where people think they remember it because they remember 3 lines.
Yeah.
When Caddyshack starts and you start getting into it, you're like, what is this? What's going on in this movie?
Awful and overrated is what it is.
Awfully overrated, yeah. A very bad movie.
It's about caddies in a Caddyshack, right? But like they didn't think that was going to be good enough, so they just ran 3 old men in there to tell jokes.
And then just boobies for days.
Well, so it's not all bad.
Boobies for days. Yeah.
Okay, so we all are coming from the same place of like these are the VHS tapes that we burnt out. I think right by me saying that you can tell sort of how old we are. When I say the VHS tapes of
as
our
half
youth.
our listeners furiously Google VHS tapes, not the horror film.
Also, when VHS first came out, it was really expensive, so you could only have a few tapes.
Yeah.
So the ones you had, you saw those movies a lot. Like we owned Home Alone when I was a kid, and I probably saw it 25 times.
Yeah, and you still remember the commercials that were before it, the little kid at Pizza Hut.
VHS tapes when they first came out until like the late 90s were like $80 for the first 6 months.
Yes,
so
very
only
expensive.
Video Olympics and Blockbuster could own it.
Video Olympics, good pull. Good local pull.
If you are local, you will know that is a great reference.
We love to sprinkle some
Yes.
locality.
Just for the extreme locals only.
Yeah, in a very strange business decision, I think. And we probably talked about this on the show before, but VHS movies were either priced to own, so they were, $20, $25, or priced to rent, which means they were literally $99.95 for the sole purpose of keeping video stores in business. Because if everybody could buy everything, then they would go under. There's a slightly similar thing going on right now. Comic books are still printing comic books for the sole purpose of keeping comic book stores alive.
Yeah.
Send those right to my iPad. Thank you.
They're trying to be nice about it.
Yeah, it's not a good business decision, but they're doing it anyway.
I thought collectible card games were keeping comic book stores in business.
It's always something other than comic
Funko
books.
Yeah,
Pops.
or like D&D nights.
Pogs.
Funko Pops.
But yeah, eventually that went away. They said, you know what, let's not do that anymore. And much like all their decisions, it made them far less money. And now they're making no money. In fact, they're losing money. But that's for a different show.
Video rental stores or comic book stores?
It's movie studios.
Movie studio. Oh,
Yeah. They were like, well, instead of making people pay even $20 for a DVD, what if we gave them everything for $5 a month? That didn't work. And
$5 a month? What year are you in, my friend?
like the first month. Or like if you go commercials, I think Peacock I pay $4.95 for.
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude, Peacock, they're like, you're going to pay it? Oh, sure. Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
My
Will
wife
you do
and I.
$5 a month? You will?
I'm on the
Okay.
barter system with Peacock. I have to iron 3 of their shirts.
Oh, I send them my own things I've filmed. My wife and I watch so much Peacock and Hulu with ads that there are, and they do the same commercial. If you're watching a certain show, it's the same commercial every
They
commercial break.
punish you.
We say it with them. Like we are big liberty fans in this house.
If you watch any local sports on like back when we had regional sports stations, it was the same thing. As a former Angels fan, I watched Mike Scioscia hawk Howard's TVs my entire life.
And that's
your
why your
mattress
house
is free.
Ryan's house is absolutely full with Howard's TV.
No, the commercials worked, guys. Also, I need to borrow like $100,000.
Or do you want to buy some TVs?
All of them at the same time, though. I'm not selling them one at a time.
TV's nuts.
We-
Does that work?
I wanted to talk.
That works
It was
for me.
absolutely wonderful, Greg.
Say it with your whole chest.
I wanted to get into. We're already clearly so up on this year because of how much it formed us and informed us. I feel like that 1984
I hate it.
Oh.
I watched all these 1,000 times each, and I hate it all.
That was such an abrupt pivot.
I feel like that 1984 is almost ready to be voted into the Hall of Fame, but I do want to get into sort of what changed here and maybe kind of explain why this happened, because I'm going to run down the top 10 box office real quick, right? And I will say that of the top 10, 2 are sequels. or sequels and prequels, which is crazy for now because it would be 10. 2 of them are solos, and then 6 of them are original movies that spawned thousands of movies after that.
Ooh, I love it.
So that's where I think sort of 1984 stands is was this we credit or like shit on Star Wars and then just before that Jaws for ruining cinema and turning everything into this blockbuster mindset. Blockbuster as in making lots of movies and
not the sweet
what gets rented at the video store at that point. But I wonder if 1984 is more to blame. Number 10 is Splash.
Just watched it for the first time a few nights ago.
Oh,
really?
Man. I love a movie about a mermaid.
Splash, and watching it, 1, it made me miss funny Tom Hanks. 2, I was like, oh, I get why this is the year PG-13 was invented.
Yes, yes.
There's a lot of ass in one cooter shot for a PG movie.
Yeah, but isn't it covered up by Fishtail?
It is the time of PG and PG-13 movies just straight up having nudity in them. People were like, I think we're going to be okay with human body. It did not last.
No.
9 is Star Trek 3, so that is a sequel. Number 8 is Romancing the Stone. That will have a sequel. Number 7 is Footloose.
Footloose.
Remade in the last 5 years or so, probably. But no sequel.
The time forgot.
Number 6 is Police Academy.
Oh, man.
No sequels to that one, though, right?
That's true.
8 or 9 sequels
One and
itself. A cereal, a toy line.
Number 5, The Karate Kid, which gave birth to Part 2, Part 3, The Next, and Cobra Kai.
Cobra Kai.
And a remake.
Oh, and a remake with Jackie Chan.
Yeah.
And so who played Karate Kid?
Jaden.
Jaden.
Yes.
Get your son's name out of your mouth.
Number 4 is Gremlins, which had a sequel and then a TV show just a little bit ago.
I haven't watched the cartoon yet.
Indiana Jones, that's the prequel.
It's called Raiders of the Lost Ark, and it's not a prequel. It's just the first one.
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom came out in 1984.
Oh, I'm sorry. Are you not in my house? I watched Raiders of the Ark 2 weeks ago.
I'm not, Mike.
That's a prequel? I had no idea.
Yeah. Ghostbusters has a sequel coming out this year. And
Frozen Empire? Who's pumped?
Beverly Hills Cop has a sequel coming out this year. So
I would say, so Jaws happened, Star Wars happened, but those were original cool ideas. And then this is the year, I don't think we can blame franchises and things on them. Like, they were the kernels. This is the year that blew up Hollywood and ruined it forever.
Is it? I mean, these movies did make a shit ton of money compared to previous years, right? Because every year before this, for the last maybe 10 years, would have Jaws or Star Wars.
Yeah.
And this top 10 was huge. And then for Beverly Hills Cop to be on top above things like Ghostbusters and Gremlins, which both came out on the same day, by the way, is, I think, crazy. I mean, that's just the star power that we don't have anymore, where it could be Eddie Murphy is blank in We Don't Care. Let's go see it.
Yeah, people just show up.
Right.
It was the perfect conflux of disposable income and true boredom that I think made all these movies make so much money.
I'm gonna say something that's probably so stupid, but this is also like the real time like mall culture, and every mall had a movie theater, and I wonder how much of it's just like this was a time where people returned to really going to the movies as a like hanging out culture.
Yeah. Yes, and there's something
part of a full day of hanging out at the mall.
There's something I think that happened then that does not happen now. It doesn't happen now for a couple of reasons, but something that happened then was, oh, look, a movie theater. Let's see what's playing now, and we will go see that.
Yeah.
That literally never happens because all of the times for everything is on our phone.
Yeah.
Nobody would ever just show up to a movie theater and be like,
fucking serial killer. Are you going to shoot it up, you nut? What is happening? I was at a mall today, and we parked right next to the movie theater. The one thing I did not look at that mall was the AMC. Fucking breezed by.
But I think that is a perfect segue to what's really going on here. Because, Mike, you're right. These are the kernels, right? You can't blame 84 for the sequels to the 6 movies that are in the top 10 that got sequels.
Yeah, it's not 84's fault.
Everybody should get the fuck off 84's back, dude. Jesus.
Gracious.
If you do that to 84, I'll 86. Your ass out of here. But I do think that what you can sort of blame on 84 is that we're starting to see this middle ground. What if there was, like, instead of dramas for adults and animated for kids,
right?
What if we genre blasted a pop movie of the year segment,
old school,
these audiences, and then like scare kids, like let's.
It's what if we scare kids, which is dope, and what if we dumb down things for adults, which is less dope.
And
This is the year, out of so many of the years we've done, this is the year we were like, oh, there's nothing artistic that came out this year. Maybe one movie.
Okay, wait, that's not true. That's not true. That's one thing that I think we need to disabuse people of the notion that 1984 only had these awesome popcorn movies.
I'm the
because
voice of the audience.
There are many capital F films that came out in 84, and they're beautiful and they're interesting.
Temple of Doom. Terminator.
But like
Gremlins.
Paris, Texas. Oh no, I'm not saying names of movies.
You shut your fucking mouth.
You can't make me do that.
Greg was just about to list.
I was
going to
say places I like: Paris, Texas,
Wait, Texas,
my home,
California's ally in the upcoming Civil War.
What was that? Was it Catch Me If You Can, where Christopher Walken ignored a comma or added a comma when Leonardo DiCaprio was leaving the room? Do you remember that story?
No, I mean that's Christopher Walken. Anytime he gets a script, erases all
a
the
couple commas.
Oh, does
grammar.
he, Mike? Did the shark in fucking Jaws not work as well?
I'm sorry. I was saying the thing you were saying, but more concisely. You fucking jackass.
I'm not following the content of the conversation, but I hear the tone everybody's using.
Yeah, maybe Greg speaks for the audience.
I was told we'd all be friends today. No, I was told I'm friends with Greg, and contractually I am. So fuck you, Ryan. I don't get no points tonight.
And yes, but you also get no points next week on the first
We'll see.
competitive
Booyah.
show.
You don't
Booyah.
remember? I know how you drink.
There are many artistic wonders of the year, but independent, foreign, otherwise. And I know this is crazy for a very youngly middle-aged dude on a movie podcast to say this, but I think I said in that top 10 multiple masterpieces. I think that just because they made money, you fucking snobs, doesn't mean they're bad. And I think some of these movies are great. I don't know if we'll all agree on which ones of those 10 are great.
Yeah.
That's why we do the show. But I think some of them are.
I don't want to give anything away, and I think I already did with one. But of the movies you listed off, I watched, I'd say, 4 of them in the last year just because.
Yeah.
Because that's what 1984 does.
Yeah, I agree with that. Like, there are some years where we've seen a bunch of the movies, but just not recently, and they're not ones you go back to a lot. 1984 has several movies that you just return to as, like, comfort watches.
Yeah.
And, honestly, with 54 other movies about to enter into the tourney with those 10, I don't think any of the 10 of them are safe. I think all 10 – no, not all 10 of them. Police Academy's there. I think a lot of them are incredible. I don't know if I would bet on any of them to make the final 16.
Well, that's the thing about
Sweet 16.
This particular year is very top-loaded with, like, the popular movies. And so that means there's going to be a bunch of these low-seeded – potentially there's going to be a bunch of these low-seeded, very artsy, very wonderful movies that could maybe snipe a couple of these because it's just like, wow, the artistic merit of that movie is profound, and so it edges out something that was just popular.
And, of course
Yeah, like
– go ahead,
Police
Mike.
Academy spawned a bunch of great movies, but the first one's no Mission
A
Impossible.
bunch of great movies.
Hundreds of incredible movies. God, I remember Gutenberg, the one about Mahoney. That was incredible.
The one where the guy went.
That's Michael Winslow.
Yeah, dude, he made so many great sounds.
Before we get, and of course our 24th seed is 1997's Contact. Can't do a season without that. Will it rise from the ranks again? We will soon see. Before we get into the bracket, we do want to announce 3 of the movies. Every season, the 3 of us get to take 3 movies out of the garbage that Letterboxd was about to not let us have. And
Fuck you, Letterboxd.
Yeah.
What are you, George Orwell, Big Brother-ness?
He's gonna
Telling us what to do, 1984?
Mike Googled 1984. And
Yeah.
What is this, the 2-minute hate? That's a deep cut, bitch. You can't Google that.
You
You
can Google
can't
that.
Google
Google
that.
that right
Can you
now, and
Google
you will
that?
see.
Well, if I Google the 2-minute hate, but if you Google 1984, that's not going to be
If
on the
you
fucking
Google
first
1984, that's going to be one of the first things you
page. That
see.
will not be in the SERP.
We got to put movies in very high seeds, by the way. 16 movies will come out of tonight, and they will each get their episode. 16 of those top 16 seeds are ours. They will absolutely get fucking decimated in the bracket, but I want to talk about them anyway. Greg, with the 15th seed,
Yes.
you chose The Bounty.
Here's why. I love a movie about a boat.
Dude, Greg had full dad energy.
Yeah.
Let's get those ships on screen.
Also, the story of the HMS Bounty is hilarious. They had a really mean captain They had to
Oh,
go to
no.
they had to go to Tahiti, and when they got to Tahiti, they found out that none of the women there wear shirts, and the crew was like, "We're not going home. We are never going back. You can't make us go back to England now that we've been to Tahiti." And he was like, "I think we got to, guys." And they're like, "Nope, mutiny. We're
Nope.
mutiny."
Island to island comparison. Tahiti wins over England
Yes.
every time.
Mike, I have a quick question about Greg's movie. When in the comic books, Kitty Pryde recently became a sailor, and yet none of the stories or issues were titled Mutant E on the Bounty. Is that weird?
That is weird, and even though that's one of my favorite modern runs, now I hate it.
Is it the Marauders where they're all
Marauders,
pirates for
yeah.
some
Yeah.
reason? Is that a good
I
read?
love that.
It's
I've
fucking
thought
dope.
about getting Hold Fast, which is Kate Pryde's tattoos on her fingers.
I really love-
because I'm a moron with disposable income.
I love how in modern X-Men settings, just like 8 of them are standing around dressed as pirates.
Yeah. Well, because you have to have 19 X books
Yeah.
at all times. So, like,
Yeah.
somebody at the pitch meeting was like, pirates. Do it.
and it's
yeah.
the best one.
No, I think that's so smart. To try to come up with a storyline that makes sense if you have to write comics, that's dumb. You should try to come up with
Yeah.
a storyline that involves cool costumes, a cool aesthetic, like interesting
Yes.
characters.
And all my life,
Uh,
because, like, we're not Gen X, so I was always confused by everyone's deep love of Kitty Pryde. Like, this is the number one crush of, like, people who are 10 years
Yeah.
older than us until
She's no
this
Jubilee.
storyline. Like,
Yeah. Oh yeah. I fuck Kitty Pryde, but Captain Kate Pryde.
Captain Kate.
All right.
Anyway, Greg, who stars in this movie?
Isn't
One of your
it-
favorite actors, right?
Oh, Mel Gibson.
It's Mel Gibson, yeah.
You know, I saw that he was in it, and I didn't remember. I didn't think
Is
like,
it-
oh yeah, that guy's so hateful. I do have to say this: I picked this movie for one of the slots. I didn't think it was going to do very well. Also, isn't Anthony Hopkins in it?
Tony Hopps is the bad guy, I'm assuming.
Oh, you
yeah,
call him
Bly,
Tony.
Captain Bly, the evil.
Even though Mel Gibson is clearly the bad guy versus the two of them. And Greg, you often say you don't think Mel Gibson can act, but god damn it, does he have some good beliefs?
Do I often say that? I didn't
Let's go to
know
the
that.
tape.
Is that something we want to attribute to me?
Mike, the 16th seed, which means eventually it will go up against the number 1 seed.
Oh, bummer.
I know. Is
Illusion.
I want you to say this title because you're the type of comedian who loves to throw this title out whenever you can.
Fuck you. No, that's why I picked this one, because I would never do that. Like, we have a lot of fun. Like I just said, Greg likes a racist. But we don't fuck around and say I'm a hack. Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo is, I've picked this because its cultural cachet still 80 years later is so strong that people use that thinking it's a quote unquote original and or funny joke. And it's not. Ryan, you taught me that anything to The Legend of Curly's Gold is much funnier. But I've heard, so Break-In comes out this same year.
Yes.
That's phenomenal.
And so I am flabbergasted that sequel got rushed. And also it's a community center is about to be bulldozed, and the neighborhood's breakdancers band together to save it. That sounds like a fucking fun time
is
at
that
the
called
flicks.
80s the movie?
The
Yeah.
80s the movie.
I thought you had to do a bikini car wash if you wanted to say it somewhere.
Hey, you can break dance in a bikini. There's nowhere in the rule book that says you can't if you're a dog.
Breaking and Breaking 2 coming out in the same year. Does this remind you of Kevin Costner's Western from 2024? Guys, he's doing both 3-hour parts in theaters this year. Are you excited?
Is this the sequel to or the ongoing saga of Yellowstone?
It has actually nothing to do with Yellowstone.
Oh, well
What?
then forget it.
Why am
We're
I there?
we're yellowheads here.
Why would I ever go and see something that has nothing to do with Yellowstone?
Your 14th seed is Carl Reiner's All of Me, a movie that stars Steve Martin and Lily Tomlin, who Lily Tomlin dies, and then her soul
Oh yeah,
goes into Steve Martin's head.
it like bonks
Like
onto his
Soul?
head, and her soul goes right into his body.
Yeah,
That'll happen.
Again, 80s the movie.
Yeah,
So Ryan, this is your pick.
Yeah.
14th seed. Interesting. So your movie does not have to go up against the number 1 seed. Okay, cool.
Yeah, I mean, the way that it works is that the host gets the 14th and then alphabetical from then
Sure,
on.
sure,
Yeah,
sure.
I didn't know if this was something that we needed to talk about on the show, but apparently it is.
We have to talk about. We don't talk in real life. We do all of our. How's your guys' wives, by the way?
There's thousands of eras of Steve Martin, probably like 6. Right now, we're in the. I'm gonna get a TV show out real quick before I die. Before that was like leading man of romantic comedies. You guys remember that?
oh yeah.
No, before TV show, it
Roxanne.
was I'm gonna play banjo before I die. Before that, it was I'm gonna write a book before I die.
LA
and then it
Story.
was leading man.
This was probably my favorite era because it was, and this was, I wasn't around for like the initial era of like arrow on my head.
Arrow through head.
Funny, yes.
Yeah.
But this was it because I thought he was. It's the physical skill. Like we don't get a lot of physical comedy anymore, and pratfalls aren't funny on film because we have fail videos, which are always hilarious.
And he could be
you
so
will laugh alone on the toilet.
He could be so wacky in one moment and so dry in the next.
But yeah, the whole key to this movie, and I don't know if I'm selling it or destroying its chances here, is when Steve Martin's character wants the body to do one thing, but Lily Tomlin's Lily Tomlin's soul wants the body to do something else, and Steve Martin has to do both of those things, and it is magnificent. I would say at the very least we can get in weird off-key Best Actor nomination.
Hell yeah!
For
Lily Tomlin as Steve Martin.
Yes, exactly. Guys, I don't know what else to talk about. We talked about PG-13. This was the year that it happened.
Do we want to rattle off a list of movies?
Yeah. I'm going to do all of them now in alphabetical order, but I didn't alphabetize them, so I'm going to be doing this on the fly.
Let's see.
Can you sing it as Wacko from the Animaniacs?
Of course I can. All of that during the break, so you will not be able to hear it. Gentlemen, here we go. And I have to do like a 12-minute intro for each of these 32 battles.
Well, there should be one 3/4 of a page long paragraph for each movie. Yeah.
Greg and I are going to take a series of naps.
Before I read this 3/4 of a page intro, I'm going to alphabetize all the words in the intro on the fly. Your number 64 seed is Birdie. You guys know what that is?
Is that the one about the tiny little bird?
The prequel to Bye Bye Birdie is my guess.
We both got jokes, Ryan.
That's the last question I'm going to ask you guys.
Yes, it is. No, it's not.
This has Matthew Modine.
Okay.
I like that guy.
Yeah, everyone's like, you know what? I love a good Modine.
Yeah. There's nothing offensive about Matthew Modine. Prove us wrong, listeners.
What was our 1991 winner? Was it Silence of the Lambs?
Yes.
Starring Matthew Modine?
And Matthew Modine. But I think that was not the safest bet, right? It would have been T2.
Oh, yeah.
To win
if
you were betting in Vegas before that. So now we get to see the first one. I was
the host of that season, and I basically decreed that it would be.
Terminator 2 is actually a shoddy remake of a much better film called The Terminator, which is our number one seed.
Oh!
I don't believe that's true. My vote is for Birdie.
Segue.
What? Do you want to get the Tuki Buki out right now, Mike?
Yeah, I don't want to be shit on halfway through where it surprises me. I want to know what I did wrong right now.
Terminator 2 is a movie that I've seen 25, 30 times. I have hardly ever seen Terminator, so I decided to see it before the 1984 season. What a fun time. And it's so interesting the way Terminator 2 is kind of like, hey, you like the things we did in Terminator 1?
Yes.
We're going to do those same exact... Like, it has the same beats. It goes to the same
we had
location.
more money.
It's like it ends in the same place.
Really?
Like they both movies like they start off in like the city and like a regular urban environment and then find their way into an industrial complex through a series of interesting vehicles and then end using some sort of machinery to like end the other machine. The idea being, I think, like we use good machines to beat bad machines, which is totally cool. But why did you do that same thing 2 different times? Like, why did it happen twice?
We all remember the 80s and 90s, and it was lousy with industrial complexes. You were going to fall into one.
Yeah. Like
we
machine
lost a lot
presses,
of good kids back then.
Furnaces.
If you fall into one, though, make sure you leave one hand out of
for
the
the
stuff.
thumbs up. Yeah.
Just for that. Or the middle finger, depending on who's
does
there.
Middle finger.
Does any part of you think if I ever do fall in lava, I do have to throw the thumbs up because that would be so cool.
Anytime I start to lose my balance, I put my thumb up just in case I fall into something.
Mike is the Fonzie of klutzes.
Hey,
I think it says a lot of you. So, like, I am a Terminator over T2 guy.
Yeah.
But I'm an Evil Dead 2 over Evil Dead guy.
Okay, interesting.
But I'm an El Mariachi guy over Desperado guy. So
nuanced.
What sequel, but really remake, when they got money, kind of guy are you?
This is just proof that everybody is a rich tapestry themselves. You know, we're all so complex. We're little universes unto ourselves. It's true. It's beautiful.
Let's go to a vote. Greg?
You know what, Ryan? I think I'm gonna upset the crowd here, and I'm gonna say Terminator.
Mike?
People know I'm not the biggest fan of Jimmy Cam's last 2 decades of output, but I got to vote for him.
So you mean
T1.
Avatar and Avatar 2?
Yep. And that doc about Look at Me in a Submarine.
What a weird title.
Look at me.
They should have thought about that a little more.
Terminator moves on. Your 30 seconds.
Bye, Birdie. Nailed it.
Very nice.
Heyo.
Your 32nd and 33rd seed, they are both in the top 10 movies of this year. So I want you to give them equal time.
Okay.
We have equal time rules, much like networks do with politics. Am I right?
Yes.
By do you mean what the year we're making this, 84?
Yeah. And that was the last time. When Michael Dukakis was a name I had heard on SNL.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it has anything to do with 1984. Number 32 seed is Splash.
Hey.
Your number 33 seed is Police Academy. Only one of these can move on.
Splash is such a fun timepiece that says Tom Hanks is a comedic powerhouse. Surely he won't throw that away to be a drab, not great actor in a bunch of series of dramas someday.
Wow. This is a spicy take.
If I may
recently
speak,
what? Greg, please.
If I may speak for Police Academy. This
was also the era where, like, for no reason, low-budget comedies would have huge scores.
This score goes so
So
hard, and it won't
It
stop
didn't have
for
to go
1
so hard, as
second.
the kids say.
An ensemble cast. This movie, okay, this comes from a time where people couldn't get enough Gutenberg,
Uh-huh.
right?
Yeah.
Much like the 1600s.
Where?
It's good.
Book it. That's a good joke. Where has Gutenberg gone? America wants to know.
Party Down episode.
Party Down.
And
That's
he
a
was
great Party Down episode.
He was amazing in it, right? Does he
I
just-
think he Rick Moranis it, where he's like, I'm out. I don't need to do this
yeah,
anymore.
that makes sense.
I don't know. Did this, like, everybody wants Rick Moranis back, though, is the big difference there.
Yeah,
I
dude.
would love more Gutenberg. 3 men and a woman, because now she's just a full adult.
Don't love it, Mike.
I've watched that a few times. Do you ever say something and hate yourself?
Why is he calling them all daddy?
If we do not vote Police Academy through, you will miss out on 3
Titties.
flawless Bobcat Goldthwait impressions.
That's so true.
From you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I have 3 very different, distinct Bobcat impressions.
Every Police Academy cop has their own personality, including one lady who's little, but she gets really
Wait,
angry.
hold on. I want to. Let's play a drinking game right now before Splash clearly moves on. Let's go around and see how many original Police Academy cast members we could name, or characters we could name.
Okay.
Maybe not name, but describe.
Yeah.
Okay, so I will start Mahoney.
Mahoney, of course. Yeah, that's kind of an easy one. Start off with Mahoney. Mike, would you like to go next?
Bobcat Goldthwait.
Not an original.
Character.
He came in Police Academy for Citizens on Patrol. But
Is that
that's fine.
true?
That's very late in the run of the Police Academy.
I've not seen a second of Police Academy.
I have no idea when my wedding anniversary is, but I know that Bobcat Goldthwait's first appearance.
Ryan, I'm going to go with Hightower.
Hightower. God damn it, what a good choice. Played by Bubba Smith.
Played by Bubba Smith. Yeah, footballer Bubba Smith.
I'm going to go with Tackleberry. He's into guns.
Tackleberry. He's like the cop. He's like the Dirty Harry style cop.
Michael Winslow.
Good.
Doing the voices.
Doing the sound effects.
You were describing her before.
Oh, the little one.
Yeah.
That's all. But she is like super angry and feisty.
In every movie, she gets one scene where she screams for the first time.
and
it
maybe
works
pulls out
perfect.
a gun
Uh-huh.
like when it's inappropriate and like fires it into the ceiling. But
It's
everybody
always
does
hilarious
settle
when
down.
cops pull out guns inappropriately.
I'm going to go with there was a blonde woman with short hair, and
Yes!
she had big boobs.
Yes, the hot blonde woman.
I'm going to go with the other guy.
Okay, I believe that you mean, if you're talking about the first Police Academy, you're talking about Kim Cattrall,
Yeah,
who was the
she
love
had the
interest.
uniform.
I'm gonna go with the crusty police captain
Ah.
who gets. Remember, he gets a blowjob
blowjob.
because they hide a
From a ghost?
prostitute.
Mike, don't jump ahead.
Different movie.
Prostitute in a Man, Police Academy.
That man was also Punky Brewster's adopted father.
That's so true. That is. Oh my gosh. Are we sure that we're just gonna greenlight Splash here? Everybody.
It sounds like this was naming these characters was a good argument for Police Academy to move on. Aren't we in a point in time where we should relook and say yes, cops are good?
That is true.
Hasn't the pendulum swung too much?
Yeah, didn't we get a little out of hand there?
ACAB, all cops are badass.
All cops are buddies.
That's true. That's part of the problem. They're all buddies with each other, and they won't rat on each other.
Even if some are murderers and stuff like that. Yeah. No, that's very true. But yeah, I think we're at least the Police Academy ones. I think those ones are good.
How about this? What if, and we have to move to a vote, so I'm just throwing this out. We move Splash on, and then next season is a Police Academy only season where we put all of them in the bracket.
And there's like 9 of those movies.
Yeah.
So one has to get booted off, which sucks.
The Moscow.
Or
right?
Sorry,
We're
Mission to Moscow. The one I can. No, that's the one I can name.
Rip off the Band-Aid.
Everyone can name Mission to Moscow because with the 7th one, they were like, all right, Police Academy, this is getting ridiculous.
Do you know what cops sometimes do? Go to different countries.
What about Assignment Miami Beach?
Yeah, dude.
That's not a different country, I guess.
We've been on that.
All right, Mike, Splash or
Dude,
Police
Miami
Academy?
Beach is kind of a different country.
That's true.
Should we go? You guys, should we go right now?
I saw a headline today that said top 10 cities in America. Spoiler alert, none of them are in Florida. This is like CNN. Like
that's Miami erasure.
We're against this state now. Mike, Police Academy or Splash?
Splash. Greg?
I have to look into my heart, and I have to say Splash.
Okay.
Okay, good. Eugene Levy is in Splash, and he's fucking killer.
This comes from when Splash came out. I wanted a girlfriend, like a mermaid girlfriend, so bad. This was
that a Freudian slip?
This was almost as bad as when Mannequin came out, right?
I just want
that
a girl
one you could have gotten
who was born sexy yesterday. That's what Greg is saying.
Well, yeah, because I was like 7. So.
Your number 16 seed is, of course, Mike's
to
Breaking 2 Electric Boogaloo. Is this when it gets bounced out?
No.
It's the 16th seed.
Mike, is this because you went to January 6th?
I mean, we all did. It happened all over the country. You can't ignore that calendar date.
The 42nd seed is directed by a guy named Mark O. Lester.
Ooh.
Oh, no. I don't like Mo Lester.
That's pretty close, buddy. You wanna...
It's actually Mark L. Lester, but why not make that little joke I made? It's called Firestarter with Drew Barrymore.
Twisted Firestarter.
Oh, shit.
She was a prodigy
at
this
Primus
time.
Song? Is a prodigy not Primus? Fuck me.
Hall of Famer, I think, Stephen King, based on the book by Hall of Famer Stephen King.
Yes, who, based on his movie making, that's not why he's in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah, Stephen King is in our Hall of Fame because he taught us to read because we were.
You don't love Maximum Overdrive?
Messed up 11-year-olds who read his books.
I think he's mostly in the Hall of Fame because the main character of Monster Squad wears a
shirt
that said,
yeah.
I'm gonna say Firestarter does not have a lot of current cultural cachet, but. Again, don't you want to do some historical research and let people know whether they're hacks or not when they say Electric Boogaloo?
Oh, I think this is a slammy D, and I hate to say it to you, my enemy, even though we started as friends, but I don't want to see Firestarter at all.
Yeah, I don't know. Firestarter has one really cool idea. Her dad is like he can use the Force to make people do things for him. But the
Does it put out fires?
But the downside,
you guys should put that out.
Yeah, she has like a different ability, and that's like she can.
I wonder what it is.
She can move stuff, but when she moves stuff, it lights on fire. And so it's like kind of like it's kind of an offshoot of the fact that she's like telekinetic.
So I need that bowl of cereal. Oh fuck, the table's on fire.
Her dad is telepathic, and he can like use the Obi-Wan trick of like these are not the droids you're looking for, and like.
I know, but that doesn't automatically make it a good movie.
I know,
Greg.
but check it out. Unlike Star Wars. In this story, when you do that to someone, later they freak out because they know that, like, no, but I know that, like, they know they shouldn't have done what they did, and they can't explain it to themselves.
This explains the Mandela effect.
They get like very unstable because of this, and it's just an interesting idea.
I just read a dope Chip Zdarsky run of Daredevil where that happened to Kingpin.
Oh,
So
really?
That's pretty interesting.
Like, like someone suggested something to him psychically, and then he like
He remembers later. He just knows somebody erased Daredevil's identity out of his mind, and so he's even madder at Daredevil than he ever used to be.
I love
Which
that.
is pretty mad.
For every arc, they're like, no, this time Kingpin is so
Even
flipping
madder.
mad at Daredevil, you
He
guys.
crushes like a Daredevil statue and then has to run across the room and crush a second one, something that he's never had to do. Was Kingpin married at that time, Mike?
He marries Typhoid Mary.
Marries Typhoid Mary. Yeah.
Oh, it's a fucking cool run. I'd never read it. Chip
Mary,
Zdarsky,
fuck, kill.
guys. This kid's going some places.
Typhoid Mary, fuck, kill. Is that?
Typhoid married, typhoid fuck, typhoid kill.
That's something.
Which is what the disease does.
Boom.
Greg, Firestarter or Breaking 2, Electric Boogaloo?
I'm gonna say Firestarter.
Michael?
Just like my January 6th brethren, I'm breaking 2.
Okay.
Does that callback work?
He's a Boogaloo boy.
Oh, that makes way more sense. I totally didn't get it.
I was like, I'm gonna figure out a way to suggest to him what I'm really saying here, and see. Or I'm gonna wait till we're off air. And be
Your
like,
joke was too good. I like the whole time. I was like, I guess breaking in is January 6th.
You had that Apple pinwheel on your forehead so hard.
Your 17th seed.
Wait,
is...
so did break in?
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. I voted for Breaking 2, of course. Your 17th seed is The Never-Ending Story.
Oh man,
a movie that we did not talk about in the intro, but I have seen 1,000 times. I have seen that horse drown in quicksand 1,000 times.
Oh man,
because it doesn't end. Because that's the only way you can get off.
Okay, can we just say that horse? Obviously, that's where BoJack Horseman comes from.
Artex?
Think about it. Think about it. Depression horse.
Your number 48 seed, and I think that this is a shockingly low seeding, Mike. So I'm going to go to you, the unsportsman. The Natural. Doesn't that feel like it would be way higher? Do you remember anything about this movie?
I'm gonna say one of two gentlemen star in this. It's either Robert Redford or Dennis Quaid. It's Robert Redford.
It is, but is
Nailed
there
it.
is there a sports movie moment in this thing that comes out to you?
He's on the mound.
Oh, nope.
No,
Okay.
you're way off.
The
No,
opposite.
I have not
You're
seen
way
it.
off, bud.
If you take a swing on the mound, like you're in the wrong place.
Yeah, dude, they get so angry.
Bro, that
This
is
is
against
the
the
one,
rules.
Mike. You know the one where the guy hits the ball into the lights and the lights like spark as he runs around the bases.
I did that when I played T-ball, but I don't know if that comes in a movie ever.
No, that part's not in the movie. That was just a memory from your own life.
Never-Ending Story would not be one of those movies that I would claim. No, it's part of our childhood and also incredible.
I bet it's trash.
No,
His name is Bastion. That's half of a dumb name.
I don't think it's trash. I'll tell you this much: it's deeply weird, and both these movies are deeply weird. When people think of The Natural, they think of that ending where he hits the home run thing.
And
It
then
is
also, and this is
so
from The
weird,
Simpsons,
though.
is lightning strikes a tree.
Lightning strikes a tree, and he makes the bat out of it. Because
that sounds fucking stupid.
It's a lot of magical realism, right? Because it's based on the Bernard Malamud.
Of course.
And the owner, like, it's always dark in his office, super dark, and he actively roots for the team to lose. And he's like this weird
Major League.
Yeah, so it's a deeply weird, unsettling movie, and so is Never-Ending Story.
It's definitely the best baseball movie I've never seen. But what I've heard about it is it's a lot like the movie Sophie's Choice, where the thing that you heard about is a very, very small part, and the rest is like a lot of.
So
a fan gets
does
obsessed
Redford
with him. Like he has like
which kid to die.
he has a violent groupie fan.
That sounds fun.
I don't know where this is going. Your 17 seed, Mike, Never-Ending Story. 48 is The Natural. Where are you going?
I'm not a sportsman, but I like movies about sports because I understand the stakes. But I love dogs. I love dragons.
Here's a
I'm
movie
going
with
for
this
Falcor.
to combine.
Never-Ending Story.
Greg?
This is so hard because the last time I saw The Natural, I was like, this is the weirdest movie. And I think I didn't like it. And now I'm wondering if that weirdness is exactly why I would like it. But honestly, the way I feel about the 1984 season,
We should embrace this shit.
Yeah, I mean, for me, what makes a bigger impression on me, what feels right for me, the answer I have to give is Never-Ending Story.
You know what I was thinking about today, just thinking about doing this episode, is what if you were, because we were like barely born or not born at all when this year happened, and so we love these movies. But imagine if you were born in like 1960, so you're 24, or even 1950 or 34, and like these are the movies this is what the movies are now? Is this?
So movies aren't for me anymore?
Yeah. That's when the world decided, like, you know what? This new generation that's being born in the 80s, culture is going to be for them forever.
For them.
Forever and ever.
Never-ending story moves on. Your next battle is the 57th seeded Places in the Heart. What do we know?
Places in the Heart.
It's about chambers.
Okay.
No, I'm going to say
4 of
nothing,
them, I
Ryan.
believe.
I know nothing.
I remember
Ventricles.
Sally Field. I think like Sally Field's farmer husband dies.
Mm.
And
Farmer husband or former husband?
farmer and now former.
Farmer
'Cause he's
husband.
dead.
He's dead. And then like she struggles to like save her house from bulldozers because it's the 80s.
From like the banks.
Yeah,
Oh,
and also
man.
like tornadoes and shit. They only put farms where tornadoes are, which seems
Wait,
like such a
bulldozers
crazy idea.
versus tornadoes? I'm in.
Your number 8 seed is Once Upon a Time in America.
Yes.
This
that
is
one.
Sergio Leone's
Yes.
attempt at the Scorsese throne. Let's make a 4-hour movie about gangsters.
Ooh,
you guys-
how long is the Places of the Heart?
Okay. I think this Once Upon a Time in America, I think this is one of the ones I'm most excited about seeing. I have not seen it before, but when I looked over the list of movies, I don't know. It just sounds like a famous filmmaker, an epic length movie. We're not going to get a ton of movies
Yeah.
this season.
This might be the one.
Yeah, so like I do feel like this kind of it's in both worlds a little bit. You know, it was a popular movie, right?
Well, yeah, I mean it's the 8th seed. It's beloved, and I don't know if like how much it was loved at the time, but it's definitely risen in. And like Sergio Leone went from making very low budget movies in Italy to this was like his big American breakthrough. It does star Bobby D and Joey Pesci. It also has Jimmy Woods, so you know. And Treat Williams, which we always love.
What a little treat.
I have seen this movie.
He just recently died, right?
I thought he left his show. Is that because he died?
No, well, that's a Hollywood euphemism for dying.
I saw that he left the show Blue Bloods.
And Treat has left his show.
I think he was on that show, The Feud, the Truman Capote show.
Uh-huh.
And recently, after an episode, they were like, "R.I.P. Treat Williams."
Oh wow! Could it have been a Trick Williams?
Man, it's when you get to be this age, everybody who dies, you like, it's always somebody you've heard of.
Yeah.
So,
Weird.
Yeah, it's.
No, I know that guy.
Well, I mean, Richard Lewis just died.
Yeah.
As of this
Yeah.
recording, and that fucking hit me way harder than I thought it was.
Yeah,
gonna say.
right. Richard Lewis, our whole lives, all the way
Do you
back
think
to.
his mole, even in death, will move all around his face like it did in Man in Tights?
And again, that's how Mike shows he's younger than us.
We
What the
could-
fuck are you talking
We
about?
can only hope.
I hate this movie.
Really? Do
Which
tell.
one? Once Upon a Time?
Once Upon a Time in
Can you
America.
give us the elevator pitch for your hatred of it?
I think that this movie is nearly, and this is not an argument against it. If this goes to the Sweet 16, I will not be upset because I do think
But-
it needs to be talked about. But I think that this movie is almost impossible to watch in 2024. I think that a lot of the arguments that people have about Martin Scorsese, I don't understand, or like I get, but you know, like I'm just maybe such a fan that I'm blinded to it. This movie is it. This movie has them all. And I think that this is a long piece of shit.
I get enough of those 8 times a day.
But
Ayo.
it's the
Oh,
8th.
wow.
It's it's the
I
8th
have
seed.
serious gastro problems.
Greg is absolutely correct when he says like how important it is, how beloved it is. Like, I just wanted to get this out at some point during the intro show that like,
That you don't like it.
and I'm ready to watch it again. You know, maybe I was wrong. I could barely even say that sentence.
You also
You're not
ju-
good at saying that.
You
with a
just
straight
told
face.
Mike that you don't like it, and it's 4 hours long. He doesn't even remember what the other movie is. and
I
he's already
love
gonna vote for
bulldozers,
it.
which I think are the heroes of the other movie.
All right, places in the heart.
Places in the heart.
Let's do the vote.
Places in the heart.
Greg, Once Upon a Time in America or
Once
Places
upon
in
a
the Heart?
time in America.
Mike, what would you like to vote for?
Good West Side Story. Yeah, it's Once Upon a Time in the West. That's a different movie, but that's the song that popped into
Oh,
my head.
and I can't tell you how many times 3 years ago I called Quentin Tarantino's movie Once Upon a Time in America.
Oh man.
Come on, guys.
I bet
get
you did. You're
different
not
titles.
good at names or actors.
So true. Your 25th seed is a movie that stars an evil ginger.
Uh-oh.
It's Children of the
I'm
Corn.
voting against it. Enough in my fucking life.
And I swear to God, guys, the other week, if I called my feet children, my children were having a corn so bad I could barely walk.
Really?
Yes, my toe.
But you do so little.
You guys talk about that while I look up other stuff.
This is another Stephen King, right? You roll into town, and it's like,
it's the 80s, Greg.
Look at these creepy kids. And it's like, okay, you know these creepy kids? They're even creepier than you think.
Oh, because some like creepy adults leading them? I don't even know that. You give me a little toe-headed kid in the field, I'm killing him right away.
Toe-headed?
I don't give a shit.
Is that what the corn is on his head?
Yeah.
If you're in a Stephen King short story and your car breaks down and you get to this isolated town with just a bunch of kids, just keep pushing through. Just like, you know what? No, we're going to go to the next
or
one.
Kill yourself right there.
Werewolf town.
Kill yourself. I watched the movie Stephen King's The Mist.
Oh, yeah.
And they waited to the end to kill themselves. Do it in the first scene.
Yeah, dude.
Why do you live through all that?
Dude.
There's a lot of times people should have been killed in that movie. The religious chick, the first time she starts piping up, you kill her.
Just shove her into the mist.
I'm going to read you guys the description of the 40th seed 20 years later.
Alrighty.
A filmmaker...
That's the name of the movie?
Yes, 20 years later. A filmmaker returns to northeast Brazil after 20 years to resume his film, a profile of an assassinated peasant leader, João Pedro Teixeira, which was shut down by a right-wing military coup in 1964. Now, this was a newer addition to the bracket because when this movie came out is a little dicey. But since it was never released properly in the United States, then we're going to put it where it came out for the world, which is 1984. That's going up against Stephen King's Children of the Corn.
Yeah, 20 years later for me, dog.
Yeah, like when I think of Children of the Corn, I feel nothing. And what you described, that movie, first of all, the Brazilian movie, that sounds fascinating. It's going to be people that own land that killed this guy. I'm almost sure it's going to be large landowners.
No, landowners are good.
That did it in conjunction with probably the local military, killed this guy for talking.
Hi, my name is Mike, and I think landowners are good. This commercial brought to you by the commission to make Mike senator.
I'm Mike, and I'm here to talk to you about landowners.
Is this
landowners.
Is this the right time and place to announce that I am running?
I was running. That's one of those dumb Tom Hanks dramas that Mike hates. The next movie, in the next bracket, we're going with 20 years later.
Yeah.
Let's just see. Let's just see what happens.
We'll just keep it interesting. Keep it spicy.
Your 56th seed is A Passage to India, which is David Lean's, I believe, last movie, if not almost last. This is the guy who made Lawrence of Arabia, Dr. Zhivago, and The Bridge on the River Kwai. And this is why I love doing these older years, older for us, because what if we could get like one of the masters' last movies? Like, what if we could squeeze in a Kurosawa or
almost last?
Or almost last, depending on the research that needs to be done.
So exciting. This was almost his last movie.
Oh, man.
I have to say...
It's his last movie, you fat fuck.
Some things you get better at as you age. Some things you get worse at. It seems pretty demonstrative to me that you get a lot better at making movies. You get different, and so there's a different vibe to them.
I think there's a peak that's like... post maybe 40 or 50, but then it goes down quick when you hit like 70.
Yeah. One thing that happens is you're like, I got time. For whatever reason, when you're older and you probably have the least amount of time, that's when you want to make your longest movies.
Mm-hmm. This is 2 hours, 44 minutes.
Oh, Christ.
It's long.
Now, don't think about that.
The 80s were all about 78-minute movies.
They should have all been 84 minutes, don't you think?
That would have been so awesome.
What? Just like band together every movie that comes out this year, 84 minutes.
19 movies, each 84 minutes long.
We're doing it all this week.
I want you to think about all of that when I tell you your number 19 is The Karate Kid.
Oh,
yeah.
Fuck.
Well, there we go.
Well, I would love to watch whatever the fuck you said first, but it's The Karate Kid.
Is The Karate Kid that big of a deal?
If we were doing this 10 years ago, no, but now we have Cobra Kai, so fuck yes it is.
I say fuck you, it would have been that big of a deal long before Cobra Kai.
Yeah, for me, it's just because of... This was like when I would go to the movie store, or the movie rental place, if I couldn't find anything, you just grab Karate Kid.
I think I watched the first two Karate Kids a couple times in my youth. It did not grip into me the way it did most people
No?
in our general generation until Cobra Kai, which I love. So I'd love to see this probably uber serious version of this world that I'm used to being very cartoonish.
I think that this is a nearly perfect movie that has been copied so many times. And it's also a copy of everything, right? Like the director is John G. Avildsen, who made Rocky. And so he's like basically the movie is the Rocky Kid.
I mean, there
Rocky
are like scenes and like montages that are basically recreations of Rocky scenes.
The classicness of it, and then you throw in a little bit of or a lot of
Machio?
Pat Morita. No, it's actually I think Pat Morita's my guy. Greg is a Machio guy. But I this movie's fucking awesome. 2 and 3, less so.
I'm excited because 1984, it just clicked that we get to, as our new outro music, play every single track from Newfound Glories from the screen to your stereo.
I am the man. All right. So, Mike, it's up to you. The Karate Kid or David Lean's final film?
That sounds awesome. It's Karate Kid.
Greg?
Yeah, there's gonna be give and take on these, but when it comes to Karate Kid, that can't be set aside for anything. Karate Kid, Ryan.
All right. Before we take a break, let's do one more.
Let's do it.
Your 24th seed is Jim Jarmusch's Stranger Than Paradise, which is one of the most 80s movies I've ever seen as far as like independent film goes. Guys, it is in both black and or white.
Okay.
If it was in one of them, you can't see shit.
Yeah. Makes you think.
Your number 41 seed is Red Dawn.
Oh, well, there you go again. What are you going to do up against a juggernaut like Red Dawn?
I've seen 2 Jim Jarmusch movies. One is about a quiet poet who drives a bus, and it was fucking phenomenal. And one was a
Cliffhanger?
Patterson. And one was a pretty dog shit zombie comedy.
Dead Don't Die?
Way too many years after that was.
I fucking hated The Dead Don't Die.
Yeah,
like that movie made me so angry. Oh god.
Jarmusch heads do not talk about that movie.
Oh
like,
man,
it's so
bad.
like it's such an antithesis of his oeuvre. Like
what a lazy like stab at metatextualism. Oh, disgusting. Like,
but
really?
do you guys didn't see the vampire one?
No.
Yeah, sorry, Mike. Go ahead. I'll look some things up.
Yeah, look some things up. I will say The Dead Won't Die did make me go, oh, Selena Gomez might be able to act. She was probably one of the better parts of that movie. I don't give a shit about Red Dawn. I have zero emotional ties to it. So my vote is for Jim Jarmusch.
I have to say, I don't care that much about Red Dawn myself, except for it inspired a lot of pop culture and has been in like big for pop culture. And I think people are going to want an episode about it. And I think not being fans of it might be a good way to do that.
A spicier take.
The movie I was thinking of is Only Lovers Left Alive.
Oh, yeah.
With Tom Hiddleston and Tilda Swinton and Mia Wasikowska. Did I say that right? Mia?
I think you did. I think you nailed it.
Incredible movie that then I think gave birth he tackled the vampire genre.
Draculas.
The Draculas.
I can do this with every monster.
I just skipped the zombie one. But
and don't watch the movie Oh No, Wolfman by Jim Jarmusch coming out soon.
Only Rappers Left Unwrapped. That's his mummy movie.
Stranger Than Paradise is phenomenal. Red Dawn, I will continue to never have seen.
Oh, Red Gone. More like it.
Guys, we're going to take a break, and then we're going to tell 8 other movies to get Red Gone. We are back. Things are getting heated. Backstage, Mike, you threw a glass of champagne into Greg's face. I thought that you would hold on to the glass when you did it, but you just let all of it
chuck that bad
Then the
boy.
champagne just hits him, and that doesn't hurt.
Is that from a particular battle that you're upset, or just overall?
Just vibes.
Vibes, man.
And I will say, it's not, I don't drink champagne out of flutes. I'm a man. It was a hard tumbler of champagne. Crystal.
Do you guys want to keep battling on movies? Are you cool with that?
Yeah.
Let's battle over something else. Slights against each other through the years.
Your 61st seed is The Bostonians, nominated for multiple Academy Awards, and is a James Ivory film. I think that I've never seen a Merchant Ivory movie.
Oh, yeah?
It's like this whole joke of what is this, a Merchant Ivory movie?
Based on the Henry James novel about proto-feminists?
This is the prequel to the Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, J-Lo Super Bowl commercial?
Is that a joke?
Duncan, Wicked Duncan.
I'm over here dunking on Mike. Did you guys hear what I said?
You?
It's going up against your number 4 seed, Paris, Texas. Now, these are not just two places that at random. This is the name of an actual movie.
Oh, interesting. Because earlier
half
I
the
mentioned
cast is in Paris.
Because earlier I mentioned the places,
Right.
in such a way that wow, that must have seemed like I was bringing up this movie out of turn.
And this is a specific director too, yes?
Yes, it is. It's Wim Wenders, who had a movie come out very recently.
This is one of the
what I thought
movies
it
from
was.
'84 that
Yep.
just based on the Mike.
By Bruce Springsteen.
That
Yep.
was
You
merely
have
the
more?
preamble to a rather long
I
and
thought you just had a
cogent
thing.
point.
Please continue.
Now I will start over again. This movie was made in 1984.
Mike, shut the fuck up.
Oh, no.
And when people reflect on the year in cinema 1984, a lot of people say this is the best movie to come out of 1984.
I thought that I was going to be come onto the show and be like, I already know what the winner is of the season, but like keep it secret.
Yeah.
But Greg blew it.
Yeah, that is this one.
Yeah, it's this one. It's the Bostonians.
is-
Three taxi.
This is the one. This is the movie I am most excited to see. Is Paris, Texas.
This will also potentially begin our love affair with Harry Dean Stanton in this
Yep.
year. He might
Yep.
be in all 16 of the movies that we choose.
Love that. And then I love when the next season of Movie of the Year is Big Love, just to get more Harry Dean Stanton.
The Stanton verse.
I believe he's also in the MCU as a janitor who the Hulk landed in front of him.
He says, "Are you some sort of alien?" He says, "No." He's like, "Well, you don't got no pants on."
That's HDS, baby. Mike, Paris, Texas, or the Bostonians? Wow, 3 cities? Paris, Texas,
That's
and
too
Boston?
many cities. I vote none of them. I love one of these places, but unfortunately, the one I love is connected to one I hate. But I definitely know fuck Boston, so Paris, Texas is my vote.
Sure, roundabout way to get there, Greg.
Paris, Texas, Ryan.
Yeah. Who knows what'll win? And if I know anything about Movie of the Year, it will be the show that is also deleted by computers when we do that episode.
Honestly, that does have the feeling of a lost episode. I have to say, that definitely does have that feeling.
Your number 20,
Real lost episode vibe.
Yeah,
this
for
one.
sure.
which is clear. Like the audience knows that we just didn't want to watch it, and we were like, "Oh,
I think that's what they imagine, especially with the
Brighter Summer Day
Every
was 4
lost
hours."
episode? Every lost episode, we go bowling and we just hang out and talk about our lives.
But even though it's legal for us to get into a bowling alley, we're still stacked on shoulders in a trench coat. That's how we buy our ticket.
Well,
we
that's
just
fun.
feel comfortable being that way.
We share one pair of shoes.
You smell my nuts, I smell yours. Your number 29 seed is Romancing the Stone. In the same year as Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom. Are you guys familiar with this movie?
I know it exists. I've wanted to see it for years.
Who is it? Kurt Reynolds?
No, that's not a person.
Michael
Douglas
Douglas.
and Kathleen Turner.
Kathleen Turner. That's when you said Kurt Reynolds. I think you meant Kathleen Turner.
That's who I meant. Yeah.
But yeah, like I think it's got a lot of Argyle and was it The Lost City that Sandra Bullock was in?
Mm-hmm.
Of like,
Spy.
I'm a writer of adventures. I'm a novelist. Should I also go on one? Oh my god, I'm on one.
I should just guess.
Oh,
what the
man.
theme you're going with
This is pretty different than just sitting on a typewriter writing this stuff out.
Is it though?
Good gravy. I thought I understood how this stuff worked. This is way over my head.
Based on the excitement, Kathleen Turner, more like Paige Turner. Am I right?
I believe that's the name of a porn star, Ryan.
No, is that true?
I believe so.
I'd flip through her book.
Bean. Number 36 is Purple Rain.
Oh wow.
This is actually, I think that these
Sorry,
are too
Purple
low.
Rain.
These two movies are way too low seated,
Yeah.
and this is a battle.
Prince was a real talent. I just recently saw
Here's a real one.
in an
That dance.
interview. Somebody said, "Prince, what did you do when you heard that this person wanted to record your song?" And Prince went on to do one side of a phone conversation that lasted like 3 minutes where he described how he reacted, and he never said what the person on the other side of the phone call was saying.
I think he was under the radar, super fucking funny.
Yes, he was very funny. He was just, even though he was like liquid sex and so talented, he was a little bit shy, and that would sometimes occlude the fact that he was very funny and very smart because he's just a little bit on the shy side.
Plus, like, nobody ever knows. Like, wait, are you kidding? Do you really want us to do this?
Yeah.
Like, you said, like, drive in a giant emerald elephant to your house right now. Like, what?
Yeah.
Could you just explain this to me right now? I have seen this movie. It is, in parts, Roof Stoof.
Like where you kind of feel like embarrassed for the movie, right?
Yeah, no, I mean, like, I think that it's a well-made movie. It's just that as the hero of our movie, he's like, I'm Prince, and then jumps up and slaps his girlfriend.
Oh, shit.
Because that's...
Not all heroes wear capes, but all heroes slap their girlfriends.
Is it flirty or is it real?
No, guys, it's real.
I do.
No, it's real. It wasn't in the script.
I do movie night with my parents, and we like to watch these old movies. And if a movie is set, or if a movie was made in like the 40s, the male main character will often just hit a woman, and it's not clear exactly why. She'll get like upset about something, and he'll take a swing at her. Like
she was there, Greg.
So maybe that is the old timey cinema energy he was going for there, Ryan.
I don't think that we get enough of these movies in our Sweet 16s of like musical, depending on your definition of musical, right?
Yeah.
Because it's not like West Side Story where they just break out in a song, but he is singing the entire time. He wants to be like it's sort of the Prince biography. There's a lot of iconic scenes. Romancing the Stone is good, but let's go to a vote, Mike.
I love stones. I love romance. My vote is for Romancing the Stone.
Greg.
I gotta go with my heart, and it's Purple Rain.
In the purple rain.
Purple Rain.
All right, this is probably the biggest battle that we've had so far. The two most iconic movies of 1984. Your number 13 seed is This Is Spinal Tap. Your number 52 seed is Chud, which stands for Cannibalistic Humanoid Underground Dwellers.
Can I say something very brave about Spinal Tap?
Is this the Caddyshack of your generation?
Here I go, everybody. Spinal
So
Tap
funny.
is one of the most depressing movies of all time. Spinal Tap punishes its characters so harshly. Just for Spinal Tap is about people who are weirdos, but then instead of being like, man, isn't it goofy that people are weirdos? It punishes them relentlessly for being weirdos and outsiders and kind of losers.
Go ahead, Mike.
It's not just that they're weirdos. These characters, yes, but they're stand-ins for people who thought they were gods.
Right.
And they're just fucking doofuses.
I think that it sort of, in a not small part, gave birth to the generation of comedy that was like, let's be egomaniacs who have no self-reflection and just talk like that. This is just more realistic and more mock rockumentary, and also it's a mock rock. And
hell yeah,
what are you gonna do with that?
And halfway through, it's very funny, but then you just have to watch these people everything fall apart for them, and at the end of it, you just feel kind of bad. But it's iconic and very important, probably.
And I don't get
on the other side's Chuds. You never feel bad.
There are certain lines from this movie that are quoted, and it's hacky. But I don't feel about this movie the way I feel about Caddyshack. Of all right, guys, pick a good movie.
No, it's legitimately funny, and it's a good movie. And I have no interest in seeing Chud. I mean, I see two right in front of me right now.
What the fuck?
Listeners, are you with me? Are you with
Oh,
me?
Greg, ladies and gentlemen, he's not always sweet.
Just so everybody knows, Greg is looking at two pictures of his own butt. And that's why he said that.
Oh.
Doctor
Doctor says there's an abnormal growth here. Ha!
Now who's the Chud?
Now who's the Chud?
Mike, these don't come up through the toilet. Those are critters.
Those are critters.
Ghoulies also.
And they're not breeders.
Have you ever seen Chud?
No, but I use the word enough that I think I have to vote that way. I call everything Chud.
Was it a word before this movie? Legit
No.
question.
Yeah, I don't think so, no.
It's Ryan, you and I specifically say all the time about each other and everything. It's how Philadelphians are to John, we are to Chud. And so
Hey,
I
Chud,
think
pass
I need
me
to
that Chud.
finally
The sound of the word is perfect.
Yeah.
You don't have to
Yes.
you don't have to define it for anybody. He's a real Chud. Everyone's just
It's
oh,
what
I
a
get it.
Chud.
I get it. He's one of those
Tell me no more. You're talking about Mike.
underground human eaters.
We do have to go to a vote. One of the most iconic comedies of all time, or This Is Spinal Tap. Greg, where are we going?
Yeah, I still want to vote for This Is Spinal Tap. I just wanted to say that thing about it being depressing.
Mike?
I am what I am, and I'm a Chud.
Okay. This Is Spinal Tap moves on. Rough draw for Chud, I would say. Mike, do you think, maybe not a Sweet 16, but could have made it to the Thirsty 32?
Could have
If
made
it
it
was
to the Thirsty 32.
up
I think
against
Chuds are
anything
very
else.
thirsty. And I'm going to, you know what? I promise you this, the two of you and our listeners, I'm going to watch it anyway.
I'll do a
Chuds
show
for
with you.
life.
If we
you
call,
guys should do a Chud.
if we call
episode.
Taylor, he'll do a Chud.
Oh, Taylor's a Chud king.
Taylor would love Chud.
Chud.
Chud. But I won't be on that one. But still good for you guys. Chud.
Your 85th seed. No, let's do 45th. 45th
Okay.
seed is the
You know
company.
Let's change it up.
Company of Wolves, which was pitched to some people as a Little Red Riding Hood remake. If you look at some of the advertisements, it's just a clear werewolf movie. It's Neil Jordan, the guy who went on to make The Crying Game. And I believe you guys know all there is to know about The Crying Game.
The one thing, yeah.
It's going up again. Oh, we have to talk about that later, too. It's going up against your number 20 seed Footloose. And I'm genuinely asking, this is in the top 10 box office, as we talked about.
Yeah.
Is the footprint for Footloose that big? Is it the movie? Is it just that we know the premise? The remake didn't do anything.
How
The
about
remake
this? This is something that I have noticed. His dance number exists as a bigger entity than this whole entire
Yeah.
movie. Nobody could tell you anything else about it, but they could tell you the language of that dance number. And I think that's really interesting, the way we can completely, like, I'll give you another example of this. The only thing anybody remembers from Risky Business is him sliding in with his sunglasses on and underwear. People still know.
And he was
They
not
don't-
wearing sunglasses.
And he wasn't wearing sunglasses.
No, like that's like a big Mandela effect because every parody of
He does. Somebody puts the sunglasses on.
he wears sunglasses and underwear, but in the original movie he does not wear sunglasses.
Very interesting. But yeah,
No, because I remember sunglasses.
Stop,
that
Mike.
means
It's just a
different
mismemory,
universe.
you fucking
It's
moron.
a different universe.
can I tell you, I am more interested in Footloose because when I was a kid, I was like, what kind of religious organization wouldn't even let people dance? And I feel like we're like 5 years away from this.
Oh, we're getting there, baby.
Places in the South being like, no more dancing. That's not in the Bible.
And
Well, I mean, dancing leads to pregnancy. Pregnancy leads to having that baby.
Every time I dance, there's pregnancies.
That's just doing it right. Dang.
Mhm.
Every time.
Every time. Which
Even
is,
if you
it's
just
a power
dance
I have
for a
to keep-
little bit.
Even if I dance alone.
Wow. So like you're at the ball game, the dance cam comes on, and you're grooving.
The whole arena
wow.
is pregnant.
Knocked up.
This isn't really a battle to me. The Company of Wolves is a movie I've seen. It's incredibly boring. They took all of the scary parts, put them in the trailer. It's very British and very boring.
And very zero cultural footprint. Even if Footloose's cultural footprint is foot dying.
Do you think somebody goes like, run, like they're being like, get away from me because I'm about to become a wolf, and they're telling you to run while they're turning into a wolf? That'd be so scary.
Classic.
Can you even imagine that?
Man.
I know you are about to
Does
imagine
one of
that
them
in your
turn to you
nightmares.
and there's spit everywhere and they go, lock me up?
The other why I'm interested in Footloose, a movie I've never seen, is because a lot of our stars of today are stars from then. Like Harrison Ford and Eddie Murphy are still stars, and we will see them be stars. But this is at the making of a star, guys.
Yeah.
This is the movie.
Is this Bacon?
This is Bacon.
The bacon?
And we're going to launch a career here, a career that will culminate in the Guardians of the Galaxy holiday special.
Yeah.
And
Well, he
Lithgow is the bad guy, right?
The story of him is supposed to be that he retired, but then he lost all his money in that Bernie Madoff scheme, and he had to like unretire because he was.
I can't believe the closer let that happen.
I was going to say, that's kind of the closer's deal, right? She's just a don't close on this deal.
All right, Mike, Footloose or the Company of Wolves?
Footloose.
Greg,
Footloose, man.
kick off your dancing shoes?
Kick off
Sunday
the dancing
shoes.
Well, why are you stepping in
Footloose.
jars of ice cream?
We're going to find out what a Sunday shoe is. Just two banana boats splits around the toesies.
All right, let's talk about your number 60 seed. It is called A Soldier's Story. It is based on a play.
Lame.
It's very play-like. I believe it stars a young man, speaking of making stars, named Denzel Washington.
Oh, love Denzel
He
Washington.
hooked us back in.
It's
But
go-
I don't want to just watch a play though.
It's going up against your number 5 seed, a very controversial movie. I don't know if it should legitimately be this highly seeded anymore, based on the fact that everybody hates how it's just eating brains out of a monkey's head and sticking your arms into bugs, and a director meeting his future wife, Kate Capshaw, and dumping his former wife, Amy Irving. No, some other person.
Some other person.
Some other person.
But is this show a fan of Spielberg?
Yes. Yeah.
And movies like Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom?
Well,
Ah.
I like Indiana Jones. I was never the biggest fan of Temple of Doom, but one thing, I haven't seen it since there have been more bad Indiana Jones movies, and so like. I mean, there's no way it's anywhere near as bad as The Kingdom of the Crystal Skull because, like, that's one of the worst movies ever made, brother.
Brother?
I watched it recently, and I totally forgot that Cate Blanchett is in it as the villain.
Really?
And fucking lives it up. Yeah,
she's good at that.
Cating up a storm.
When she's in a bad movie, she's like, "Ooh, I'm just gonna have fun. This one's for me."
Oh, you mean Crystal Skull? I thought you meant Temple of Doom. I was like, how old was she? She had to be super young.
She was
17.
And it's not just the grossness, the creation of the PG-13 label, but also the treatment of other cultures, the treatment of slaves.
The treatment of, isn't this the one he dates? And if you do the math, she's like 12 when they met, and he was dating her.
What? For who?
Indy and the love interest.
Gross.
Because and the behind the scenes, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg thought it would be so funny if this 20-something was dating this 12-year-old.
That would be funny. What a hoot.
The behind the scenes reading of them writing this feels like a horror movie.
This movie also, though, stars Academy Award winner Ki Hee Kwan.
Yeah, maybe you heard of him.
And he is not in A Soldier Story.
Yeah. That's
you know what?
Honestly,
I'm sick of soldiers.
That's putting a huge thumb on the scale for me.
Honestly, this movie is so tied to my childhood that it is hard for me to separate. I don't know if that's an argument for or against me being on a show about it, but like I haven't seen it in a while, and I would like to sit down and even consider if this is a movie or a series of gross scenes like most Marvel movies are today.
We should do it, but you're not allowed to talk on it. It's just Greg and Mike while Ryan is duct tapes mouth shut.
Still giving points, though?
Yeah.
Okay,
course.
Greg is going to get most of those points after that idea.
Because I suggested this?
Yes.
Greg.
Ouch.
Greg.
Greg.
I found when I was young, this one was too disturbing and scary for me. I wonder how that has painted my experience.
Do we think it's true that there is no time for love, Dr. Jones?
That is a good question. The scene where he reaches in to get the light switch in a tunnel of bugs, the bugs are like the smallest one is like Timon and Pumbaa couldn't even fit it in their mouth as a grub.
Big bugs.
That was very good. Greg, Indiana Jones or A Soldier Story?
Indiana Jones.
Mike?
I want
the
Doom.
5 seed. It's the 5 seed.
Yeah, it's 5 seed. Come on.
And we can listen to MF Doom all that week. See if that gives us any extra insights. I felt like no.
No, but I mean, it was good musically,
It was a
but
good week,
learned
though.
nothing about the movie.
Your 28 seed is Love Streams, which is a John Cassavetes movie. What do we know about this guy?
Yeah, what do we know about
What
that?
do we know about this guy? Now, he was
What do we know
obviously
about this guy?
Rosemary's husband and Rosemary's Baby, but when acting didn't pan out, he became a king, a pillar of early independent cinema. Just low budgets, people talking, no plot. Cassavetes. 28 is kind of high. 37 is Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock. So you would have to be saying, I want to see what happens before or after the Wrath of Khan so bad that I want to deny Cassavetes a spot in the Thirsty 32.
We did Wrath of Khan, and I think history dictates we have to just run a series now.
The whole time you're watching Wrath of Khan, you're like, man, I can't. This feels high stakes. They're really doing it. They're gonna kill one of the main characters, probably the most important character in this. They're gonna kill him off, and then as soon as they do, they're like, don't worry, he's coming back. The next movie is about how he comes back. And then the next movie is just about how he comes back, and it's the most anticlimactic thing of all time.
Well, what if the search was
the
just for his
Wales
dead
one?
body? No, that's 4.
Yeah.
4, 5?
Okay.
I thought that was 5.
5,
We'll
The
watch one of
Undiscovered
those.
Country? Or is that 6? I'm not a Trekkie, but I will interrupt Greg to answer these questions, Mike.
I love that.
Doesn't the rule tell us that the good ones are the even ones?
And this is an odd one. So is
Yeah.
Love Streams, an odd movie.
I love love. I love streams.
I mean, I love Hulu. I love Netflix. I guess I love streams, right? I love Brooks.
I love Shields. I love Brooke Shields.
Chud could have
Suddenly
beat either
Susan.
of these movies in that.
I know.
Chud.
What was the non-Star Trek choice again?
It's Love Strings by John Cassavetes, which Chud would not have beaten, by the way, Mike. Chud,
I think that's the way I'm going. This is a very boring Star Trek movie, and we just watched a good one, and I don't think we need to go.
a good one that Mike hated.
Yeah, we didn't
I
even
hate
really.
Oh yeah, you had not nice things to say.
My memory gets fucking wiped at the end of every season.
Yeah. You were like, beam me up, Spotty. This was another Spotty entrance into this series.
I'm clever.
And I would love, Mike, when you're done, only speaking in headlines. But this is your phase, and you should do it.
I would love to finally learn why I know the name John Cassavetes.
Yes. I mean, I think that's a thing for a lot of people. Much like the guy who did Sweet Sweetback's Badass Song.
Oh yeah,
Eagles. Yeah, it's just like these are names that people have heard of, but like don't really know any of their movies. And Vim Vendors, the Paris, Texas guy. All right, Love Streams moves on. All right, 2 classic comedies. I've never talked to either one of you about either one of these. I don't think. Your number 53 seed, let's start here, is The Gods Must Be Crazy.
Holy cow.
I've heard that title.
Wow. Okay. This is a movie where I saw it when I was young, and I'm like, that's not okay, right? Like when I think back on it. So, it's like a farcical comedy about someone throws like a Pepsi bottle out of an airplane into like a African village, and the Africans who live in this village do not have a lot of contact with the outside world, and so they think, am I getting this right?
No, you're right. You're dead on.
I bet it's handled super sensitively.
Describing this movie is not actually that comfortable.
But like it is released and thought of as a laugh out loud, hysterical, farcical comedy.
And they like don't understand where the bottle came from. They think it's the gods.
It's the gods. It either is a god or the gods gave this to them.
And
do we want that to be an episode of this season?
Well, is the Pepsi bottle full?
No, it's empty. The guy throws out an empty.
It's half full, half empty, and it's up to the viewer to decide.
And I don't
Pepsi.
I don't know this, but just based on how this stuff has worked in the last few seasons that we've done, I guarantee this is like an all-white crew, all-white director, all-white writer, and then just like the whole cast is. There's
been so many movies. What's the one? The reggae movie? The Harder They Come.
Yeah.
And then Coffee. You like look it up and you're like, oh shit, look at what IMDb says about this group.
And then suddenly it feels different, right? Because you're like, oh, okay, so the actors are all black, but like the creative process behind this was all just a bunch of white guys high-fiving each other.
Probably throwing Coke bottles into.
It would be like this, don't you think?
And what is it up against?
Number 12 seed. This is a highbie. This is like if we go chalk. This is an episode that we do.
Okay.
16 Candles.
Oh yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, it has the cultural stock. I think there's problematic things that'll be interesting to dig into.
You think there is? You don't remember right off the bat?
I don't remember a lot.
This is the movie that has Getty Watanabe as like an Asian.
Oh, Long Duck Dong.
Yes, This is the movie with Long Duck Dong.
Yeah.
Also,
okay. So let's talk about that.
People who like there's a lot of date rape pills.
I was gonna say there's probably a rape, right? It's of the era. A hilarious rape.
Classic battle for us.
It's John Hughes. It just feels like we should talk about one that hasn't been memory hold.
I don't know. We have a movie of the year episode about The Breakfast Club, and a beloved movie did not sit well with us.
Yeah.
So, but people still look about this one fondly, so let's fucking take them to task.
But do they? Because I feel like Ryan's 2 topics that he brought up are like among the first things people talk about when they talk about this movie.
Yeah.
When I hear people, they're like, I know that part's not okay.
Yeah.
With Long Duck Dong. But Ducky.
I mean, it is much different than Breakfast at Tiffany's, but how much different is an interesting question.
Yeah.
And also, wasn't this like the beginning of a career for him where he did this like same character a few different times? Like,
bummer.
God,
he's in Gremlins 2, a sequel to a 1984 movie that I love, who takes pictures of everything because he's Asian.
Ooh. Oh, man. I feel like there was just years where like that was like a joke that was repeatedly gone to.
What's your personality? Camera?
I take pictures of
And eventually white people had to appropriate that in American Beauty? Not okay.
God, no Moody season will ever go by where we don't take American Beauty to task.
Fuck that movie. I recently heard somebody being like, I know we don't like space anymore. American Beauty, gorgeous movie. I'm like, you're a fucking moron. Are you serious?
Well, ask them when last time they saw it was.
Yeah, the movie's trash and so are you.
No, you know what? Don't ask them, Mike. Just say that. No matter what
you're
movie
my
they say.
boss's boss. Fucking.
All right, Greg. 16 Candles or The Gods Must Be Crazy.
I object to both of them, but I think 16 Candles had the bigger footprint and would be the more interesting episode.
Mike?
I'm going to say we could just do Chud instead of either of these, but I
Yeah.
guess it's 16 Candles.
16
I bet Chud is not problematic ever.
Can
What
we
if-
snip that? Can we clip that? Use it for later.
What if the Chuds are just the whole movie like fighting for civil rights and no one will let them because they're ugly monsters?
They're on an underground bridge, and it's just like Selma.
All right. We have one more battle left of this episode, guys. I do have to cut this off halfway through the first round. There's just too much talking about movies, and we have to save this for next week. So because this is the last one, please make this count.
No.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going to say a name and move
I
on.
continue to phone this in.
Mike, we're voting. Greg says no. What do you say?
Yes.
Okay. And I say no.
Oh, shit.
Twist.
Your number 21 seed is Friday the 13th, the final chapter. So in this year of sequels, this sequel is saying no more from us.
And there never was.
We promise we're done. Just watch this last one, and then you're done.
And ultimately making the worst fuck up of a movie series of not calling it Friday the 14th or Saturday the 14th or, right?
Yeah.
It is going up against your number 44 seed. One of my favorite movies of all time. So this is
I
when
know what I'm voting for then.
this is when it gets personal, and this is when Mike tunes out and
It's
goes
a
on his
final
phone.
chapter.
No, it's not even that Mike will vote against this because of me. He will just stop listening and then say the first thing I say. It is called The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai Across the 44th and a Half Dimension. I think I got that title right.
If you think there's a goddamn universe where I vote against The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai,
Yeah.
the 44th Dimension, you have never met me, my friend.
It is unfortunate we're not going to figure out how Friday the 13th concluded, though, because it would be nice to know how that was all brought to a resolution.
I love horror and slashers, and I think I've seen half of one of the Friday 13ths, and I'm totally fine with that just continuing, that being the biggest blind spot of my slasher films.
Yeah, they're kind of garbage.
Yeah, I think they're the worst of the worst.
This was
Again, of not seeing them, I think that they were the worst of the worst.
This is what our listeners love to hear, is just absolute, I have no idea what I'm talking about.
Uninformed opinions. Wow. It's not like a bunch of men to get together and share their uninformed opinions and then record it and send it out into the world.
Wait, hold on, let me Google. No, I continue to not like them.
Think of all the stuff we edit out that's truly uninformed, listeners.
And producer Dave, please edit that out, revealing that we edit out
Snip
stuff.
that out.
All right, Mike, The Adventures of Buckaroo or Friday the 13th?
It's The Adventures of Buckaroo Banzai, despite the fact that you love it.
Greg?
Buckaroo Banzai for me.
Oh, God. If this makes it to the Sweet 16, guys, I'm going to fucking flip out. I'm going to be so happy, and now I've ruined the chances.
I'm pulling for you, bud.
I'm
but
going to vote
bet-
for Tuki Buki.
Yeah, I don't think there's... It gets so dicey next round. It's
I
like-
know. This
Yeah.
is all fun bullshit.
Yeah.
Next time is like we pull out machetes and like we hit them on our other hand like they're baseball bats and then cut the shit out of our other hand.
Ow, ow, ow.
16 movies have made it on. 16 movies will have to wait for, or 32 movies will have to wait for next week because that is all the time we have. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here.
No problem.
You're welcome.
And I appreciate that you guys got back together. Like you feel like you're getting along.
Mm-hmm.
So
I
probably
love
forever.
Greg.
Yeah, yeah.
we're going to take a quick break and then 6-day, 7-day break. And then when we come back, Mike and Greg Cage.
Keep watching.
Keep watching those movies.